thought, man, I just want to say appreciate you for letting us come in here, man.
Man, no problem,
On the
man. No problem.
podcast.
Anytime. Absolutely.
Just want to start off by saying, bro, why the fuck are you so big, bro?
Man, I continue to keep lifting weights because we got kids at the high school.
Right.
Every day you're going to get tried.
Right.
So I got to be ready, prepared.
Right.
Not only that, I feel good, and plus it's a habit for what I've been doing
Right.
for the last past, 2 decades.
Right.
Why not continue it?
Right, exactly
I don't want to let this go to waste.
Right. Damn right, shit.
Absolutely.
If I was you, this morning, I want to stay that same way too, shit.
Of course.
So how big were you in the NFL?
Man, the heaviest I ever been was 315. The lightest I've been was maybe like 285-ish. All depends on what I was feeling. First got into the year, especially with Pittsburgh, I had to be a little bit more, more heavy up front because the type of defense we were playing. As my years transitioned out, when I switched back to the 4-2-5 with four-man front, I had to be a little bit lighter because I needed to be able to move and all of that, but still be strong enough and heavy enough to hold the double team in the 3 technique, or depending on where they want to place me at.
Okay.
So just walk us through, but we always want to know, what was that journey like getting to the NFL from when you were a kid up until you got drafted?
I mean, really, it all started way back in the young days. I'm talking about from East Ridge.
You always knew you wanted to be in the NFL?
Man, I always knew I wanted to do something. The NFL dream didn't start happening until around high school level. As a elementary, middle school, you're not going to know. You're not going to know what's going on in general. But as I got bigger, I got better at my craft of doing what I was doing, playing on the defensive line, playing tight end. I was able to understand my body and how it works. Not only that, over time, you saw that hard work took over everything else. And so I continued that path all throughout, stay disciplined, kept my mind correct, stayed out of trouble, kept the grades, eliminated the small things so I could concentrate on playing football. So by the time I got out of high school, I made a name for myself, earned a scholarship at the University of Missouri. I was able to work alongside a great strength and conditioning team. And not only that, Coach Gary Pinkel and his staff was able to provide structure, and not only that, give me a base to where it could develop me as a player, and that over the years to come, I was able to produce, become one of the top players at the time at the Big 12, and not only that, give me the opportunity to showcase my skills, especially when we played on national TV and bowl games, and then the rest was history from there. As far as getting drafted, playing on over a decade on several teams, and all that, just trying to make something out of myself.
Was it ever intimidating, like when you got to higher levels?
Intimidating? No. Nervous? Yes, because you want to be able to perform. You want to go out there, display your skill set. Not only that, you don't want to do anything to hurt the team in that process. And so, just trying to keep those nerves, and all of that, I don't want to let my other guys down. That was the main thing. So that's why I try to keep in mind as well whenever I try to play in practice.
Right. Would you say it was like a battle going against, like, especially practice? 'Cause I know how practice goes.
Yeah.
So it was mostly competition.
Well, you got to think, everybody at that point in time has made it to the highest level.
Right.
You're a small fish in a big pond, and everybody's big, fast, and strong. So you got to try to outsmart players, which that was hard because now you're dealing with veterans that been there over 8-9 years.
Right.
For instance, going against Baltimore, Marshall Yonder, number 73, the right guard, he's going soon to be in the Hall of Fame. One of the greatest guards I ever went against. And you can compare him to Zach Martin, very smart player. He knows what you're doing before you do. So it's a constant battle when you win against a player, an opponent like that, especially being with Baltimore. Because we play these guys 2 times, sometimes 3 times a year, depending on how we do as far as going into playoffs, etc. And so you always had to keep developing and keep learning. And not only that, you can't make the same mistakes you made in one game versus the other.
Right. Gotta learn from your mistakes.
Absolutely.
And is that what you tell your players at PD?
Yes, I mean, don't be afraid to make a mistake.
Right.
I don't want to coach robots. And so what I learned and over my time in the league, let your athleticism, let your athlete or athleticism take over.
Right.
If I tell you one thing but you feel something else, trust your gut. If you make a mistake, all right, cool. Let's get back to the drawing board. Let's find out what we can do, what we cannot do. But don't put the team or the defense in jeopardy if you try to go rogue.
Right.
So if you feel something, do it. I'm not saying don't do it, but I want you to be free out there.
Right.
I don't want you to have this mindset, oh, I'm gonna make a mistake, because that's gonna slow you down.
Right.
Then all of a sudden you create hesitation. Now you're gonna be a step behind everybody else. Go be out there. Go be the player you can be. Don't hesitate. Be productive, and let's see what happens when the chip falls.
Exactly right. Sure.
Absolutely.
But you had somebody going through high school or getting to that level, someone that kept you level-headed, or someone that looked after you, or your friends?
You know what? I just bumped in my old buddy of mine, Philip Mason. Matter of fact, we celebrating his birthday next weekend and his homecoming as well. And that guy, hell of a player at PD, hell of a player. And he's the guy who I modeled at, and I took his football number, 83. He moved to number 13. He moved the middle linebacker. I took his spot as outside defensive end. So if you get a chance to talk to Philip Mason whenever he's down there, he'll tell you the whole story. Good guy, family man, soon to be husband. And so I tried to stand behind the guys that laid the platform and laid the grounds before I did. And so he was one of them guys that set the tone. This is the type of player I want to be, with his energy, his passion, and just watching him play on field. The guy was an animal, and I appreciate, love the guy for what he did for me. He's still giving me support, and that gives me encouragement, because now I can pass that on to the younger guys in the generation that's after me. So.
I think that's how you gotta stick with people around people like that, of course. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like my cousins, we always got great charisma. We're always talking great things, great ideas. So I feel like that's true. You always want to be around people that you do have that same mind, like-minded people. Exactly.
Well, I always say try to surround yourself with people that's gonna try to help you elevate yourself.
Right.
If you're dealing with somebody that's gonna constantly try to sink you or pull you down, you're never gonna be able to grow. You're never gonna be able to prosper.
Exactly.
And I try to keep people around me that's either one, doing better than me in life, that's smarter than me in life, and not only that, somebody that's going to say, hey, you're wrong, you're messing up. They're going to check you for your problems that you're doing.
Yes, man.
No, you don't want that, because then they're going to enable you to keep repeating the same problems that you're doing.
Right.
And not only that, they won't never tell you the truth if they're always looking to be somebody that's trying to ride off your coattail.
Right.
You want somebody to say, hey, you did this mistake wrong. I love you, but I want to tell you the truth. And so I want that in my life, and I want to surround that, because I would want to do that for somebody, vice versa, do somebody do that for me as well.
How important do you think that is? Because there's a lot of people that say, like, I know my family too, and me, I've been guilty of it. Like, we got a lot of pride. So it's like, I don't need nobody. I figure it out on my own. But how important do you think it is to have somebody like that to guide you down the right path?
Man, it's going to be very important. You don't need a whole 20 guys in your group. You need that 1 or 2 guys that's going to tell you the truth. And not only that, pride is, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing as well, because you can be blind to what you're doing. Well, sometimes you can be naive, because you can see it happening. You know it's there. You know bad, right from wrong, but you ignore it. And so you continue to keep going down this path until you either hit rock bottom or something tragically happens. And then all of a sudden, now you're looking for somebody to help you out. But
Somebody to blame.
Yes, somebody to blame other than yourself. But sometimes you need to look at yourself in the mirror, and that's a hard pill to swallow. But once you grasp that idea and grasp that concept, your life will be able to start transitioning, and you start moving in the greater good.
That's one thing that I've noticed once you started doing, like taking all this more serious. It's a lot of people, once you start getting to a higher level in anything, ego is more involved. There's a lot more ego involved.
Of course, because what I noticed over some of the years that I've been dealing with, even in my retirement stage, when you still making different moves and you still start to transition into a better life, you always gonna have folks mad at you for some odd reason. I don't know why. I can't understand it. I can't understand it, or I can't even explain. But for some odd reason, you always gonna have somebody trying to tear you down. But at that point in time, you can't even worry about that, because when you start worrying and focusing on that, you're not moving in the direction you got, because it's holding you back. And so if you can try to continue to keep pushing where you wanted to go, of course you're gonna have somebody behind you that's always gonna talk trash. But use that as a stepping stool. You know what I'm saying? I guess if you don't got haters, you're not popping. I guess that's
something wrong.
I guess it's true. So what I'm saying, there's really nothing you can do. They mad. Hopefully, the God can change them in a better direction, give them a better mindset. At the same time, you still got to continue to keep doing that for yourself and your family.
So, about ego and everything, what would you tell somebody that's trying to start off, trying to like you're a coach at PD, so I know you see a lot of kids that have talent, but they also a lot of people don't see what they deal with at home.
Yeah.
So what would you tell those type of kids?
Well, like I said, being the coach here at this high school, you see a lot of kids with different variety of backgrounds. One parent home, two parent home, one grandma, grandpa, or just staying with a friend on the couch.
That don't have that support system.
Yeah, and it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard when you don't have nobody in your corners, and I know where it can lead you because sometimes you can be the product of the environment you grow up at. But still, at the end of the day, the world does not care. You still have decisions and choices you have to make in order to try to help you and prosper. I know it's hard for some kids. I absolutely get it. No lights on. I don't have enough money to feed myself. I absolutely get it. My heart goes out to them. But what can we do to better ourselves? What can we control in order for that? Let's get the good grades. If you have athletic ability, let's use that talent. But before that even happens, let's put the work in. Let's not stop the work process in order to get to where we at, because that's what we miss is the grind process when it comes to that.
I think sports is a great way to teach kids that, especially kids. Like sports will teach you a lot about life and discipline and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Being able to be coachable and all that.
Yes,
So it translates to their life outside of sports.
Discipline is going to put you in the right mindset because, okay, I can't go out tonight because I got to work out the next day. I can't have this certain beverage because it's going to mess up my performance on the field. Or I can't do this certain type of, let's say, fun activities because I know how it's going to affect me either in the classroom or it's going to affect me on in the film room. Right. Because I got to be able to, explain this to not only to my coaches, I got to be able to explain this to my teachers. And not only that, I got to be able to explain this to my mom or dad if something happens. And so...
like accountability.
Accountability. And not only that, if you mess up, you do something wrong, accept it. And say, hey, I was wrong. My fault. And sometimes I know telling the truth, it hurts, but you get it out, folks will know, and people will, respect you more. I mean, you may lose a couple people. I get it, I understand, but at least they have some type of respect for you, if you have to, set the accountability for yourself.
Yeah, like, I don't know if you read the Bible or religious or anything, but there's a story where all these people are gathering around to listen to Jesus speak.
Okay.
And he had a great opportunity to, convert people.
Yes.
So he started speaking in parables and no one could understand him. And one of his disciples was like, hey, you got this huge opportunity. Why the fuck are you speaking in parables, know? And he was like, well, I wanted the people that really want to be here and follow me are going to come and ask or are going to figure out. So he's, in a way, he's getting rid of the people that don't care, that he doesn't need in their circle,
Yeah, if you want to gain knowledge, you're going to ask the questions. Yeah. You're going to want to know more and try to understand. And so if you're not understanding, you want to go seek what the meaning is, or how come you said this, or why you're talking like this.
If you want to, you would.
Yeah, if you want to, yes, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely.
So kind of, how was it, once the NFL became a reality, a goal, and you were in high school, how did your mindset shift, or how did you start looking at things different? Were you more focused?
Well, yes, you have to be focused. And so getting to the league, I'm going to say, was hard. But trying to maintain and sustain and stay in it for as long as you can is even harder, because next year there's another draft. And following that, there's another draft. Your production not matching, they try to replace you. You making too much money, they try to replace you. So how can you stay on the football field, or at least on the team, try to make as much money as you can, and all of a sudden you can get out and you can live your life the way you need to. And so you have to understand that without that focus, without the discipline, without the understanding that I have to get better each and every day, because there's always they're trying to replace you. Whether that's the draft, the trade, or somebody that's been in your back corner, they're gonna try to move them up to give them that opportunity. If you're not producing out there on the football field, or if you're messing up doing something wrong.
There's always someone coming for your spot too.
Oh, absolutely, and you will have to understand that. But with that being said, it's almost like you're running from a dog. When you're running, you're gonna run faster because you feel it coming, and that's how we got to look at it, and that's how we got to move.
That's true. Example, Josh Jacobs. He was saying how there's underrated players on the roster.
Yeah.
Talking about the best players on the field, cold, but they don't get that spotlight. They only get 3 plays in the whole year. How do you feel about that?
Well, like I said, almost at that point in time, you got to stick to the grind. And that there are some good players, and there's soon to be great players. They're just waiting for that opportunity.
Right.
And all it takes is that one play or a collective, a series to showcase your skills. Now, I always hear this saying, your blessings are always prepared, but you just got to be ready for the opportunity when it presents itself.
Right.
Your blessings are there, but will you be ready when it's time to receive them?
Right.
And so when your opportunity comes, whether that's you in the office, you speaking in front of people, or you giving a presentation, will you be ready to showcase your skills to elevate you to that next level?
Right.
And that's the part we have to be ready and prepared for. When the opportunity comes, we got to take full advantage of it, regardless of what's going on. Take full advantage of it. If you get one play, can you be a factor on that one play and be memorable on that play as well?
So, what was it like when you got that call, that draft night? What was going through your mind that whole day?
Dude, I'm telling you, it was one of the craziest days. So I already knew 1 through 15 I wasn't getting selected. I knew that from the very jump. That's what they've been telling me. I'm not dumb. I'm not naive. So I think Detroit was at pick 20. 24 was Atlanta. Colts was at 28. And then after that, if I made it past the Colts, I knew I was going to San Fran with the first pick in the second round. Steelers came out of nowhere, to be honest. I met with Mike Tomlin and the team at the Combine, but at the time I didn't think they was going to select me because I don't fit their mold of a 3-4 defensive end. Right. If you see their guys, Aaron Smith, Brett Kiesel, these guys are 6'5", 6'6", 320, 315. I'm 6'4", I'm not a small guy, but compared to them, I was like, who's this little dude right here? Something like that. But receiving that phone call, it's kind of hard to explain because the experience and the emotions of everything that I went through in life leading up to that point, all the hard work, the getting up early in the morning time, the study halls in college, putting the weight on my back, holding it over my head, running, the pain, the broken bones in my feet. Finally, that's all I can say, finally, and thank you. Thank you. Now I got an opportunity, but that doesn't stop there. I got to do the right things in order to keep moving on, keep pushing.
So was it like a starstruck moment when you got there?
Starstruck.
Like what was the first day of training camp?
First day of training camp. Now I already met some of these guys, on my interview process as far as going up there and meeting some of the team. But seeing these guys going to work like a Troy Polamalu, because when you see him, he's a small guy. Yeah. He's not that very big. He could probably walk around, you wouldn't even know him unless he took his hair down. But if you're a true football player, you know exactly who he is. Real cool, calm guy. But when it's game time, different animal. This guy, I've never seen an animal like him before. But being the guys like around Hines Ward or Casey Hampton or Larry Foote, James Harrison.
You played with James Harrison?
Played with James Harrison for 5 years. Matter of fact, he was on my side. He was on the right side. I was on the left side with Lamar Woodley. And so being around them guys and them caliber players, I gotta be able to uphold my own, stand my ground. These guys already been there. Before I got there, they already won the Super Bowl against Arizona before I got there. So they are already on the high. They had the pedestal. At that time, I think they had the top defense. Now I'm coming into that realm. These guys got mortgages. They got families. They got mouths to feed. I got to make sure I pull my weight in order I don't want them to lose because I can't let them down because if I let them down, I let myself down. And that comes through a pride thing. I want to be able to be with them when they say, I remember that defense. Hood was part of it. That's what the type of mentality I had to have going in.
So what was that first game like after all that?
Let me see. The first game we played against, I think it was against San Diego on a Thursday night since they just won the Super Bowl. I think I got in for maybe 1 or 2 plays. It was just like, I was still like, God dang, this is the NFL.
Like you see the crowd in there.
Like, man, this Hines Ward. And then when they played that Renegade song right before the fourth quarter, and you see the terrible towels swinging and stuff like that, you ain't gonna never be energized like that in your life ever again. Cause with that stadium at the time was hopping and moving around like Heinz Field, boy, it's a feeling. It's hard to match. It's hard to describe. If you ever have a chance to go to a game and they play the Renegade song before the fourth quarter, oh man, I'm talking. You be fired up. You don't need no pre-workout or shot of adrenaline. That's what you need right there. And so seeing that and be able to look at these guys go to battle. I'm not going to say go to war, because going to war is a totally different thing, but seeing them go out there fighting in the trenches and claw, scratch, and trying to get a win, I'm like, man, I can't wait to get my opportunity when that comes in. And so, just being a part of that, is very special, very magical.
When did you ever have your NFL moment? Like
welcome to the
that
league
big
moment.
boom, bro.
Well, let me see. Be honest with you, when what's the quarterback old time for Chargers? Philip, what's his name? The quarterback, Philip Rivers. When Philip Rivers knew my name, hey, man, I made it. I made it. It wasn't a hit, wasn't a tackle. It said, hey, say Hood, I know where you at. I see you over there.
Damn.
Biggest trash talker in the world. He doesn't cuss, but biggest trash talker in the world. When he knew my name, I said, yeah, all right. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm all right right now. I'm a rookie. He know my name. Oh, dude, I'm that dude right now. I'm that dude. So.
Were you ever starstruck by seeing these big names?
Starstruck now. I mean, after a while, yeah, but then you got used to it. You got used to it. And so I think that's what made it more easy to understand, because you're going to see these guys every day. And so you're going to get used to them. You're going to, and just to see them walking around, be like normal guys, joke around the kid as if they're 14, 13 years old, what made it easier. So
the locker room and everything?
Yeah, the locker room was fun with these guys. I mean, it's great times, man. Great time with these guys. And so just being around that environment made me feel like I was back in college all over again. Because, I mean, when it's time to go to work, it's time to go to work. But when we're in the locker room, it's a fun environment, stress-free, as they say, let your hair down type of feel. So, absolutely.
You got any locker room stories?
Man,
what's your favorite one?
Hey, whatever happens in the locker room, stays in the locker room.
Dude, I mean, but like I said, I done seen guys pillow fight in the locker room. Guys are playing ping pong, for money, pool for money. We playing cards.
Gambling?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say. I ain't gonna say. But I just watch. I never partake. I just watch. I mean, their pockets were a little bit deeper than mine. So I said, hey, do what you got to do. I just want to see who's gonna lose and be mad. So that was my deal. I'm telling you, man. No, I'm being serious, man. I mean, it's real, man. But like I said, the locker room environment was real fun because, I mean, a lot of problems, that they had to bring from home and bring in the locker room, you get to hear their stories, because not only that, it teach you how to move a little bit different. And good and bad and indifferent, you learn a lot from, players in the locker room, because then they can really talk to you. And so, I mean, then you can have that full-blown conversation. And so, but like I said, everybody came from different backgrounds, and everybody told a story. And so when you hear different stories of how everybody, is different, but they, searching for that one goal, that one purpose, you feel good about yourself because you have a story of yourself that you want to tell. But just being part of that, it was all good, man.
So what was the most amount of money you saw just being thrown around like nothing? Man,
to be honest with you, when I went to the casino with Casey Hampton back in Atlantic City. We just got done playing Green Bay. He flew me and my homeboy Steve McClendon out to Atlantic City. I think we stayed at the Bellagio. I forgot what it was. At the time, it was one of the best casinos out there. And so watching him at the craps table, I had never seen chips stacked this high. I'm thinking, they're singles, they're nickels. No, these were no nickels or singles. These are hundreds. I said, whoa, this guy got some money in his pocket. But he'd been there for several years. He get bonuses for making tackles and sacks and etc. And so he had money to play. And the bad, and not the bad, but the fun thing is he was actually winning. So he just kept. He was just building like many sand castles, just doing this and sliding them. I mean, it was too much money for me. I'm telling you. I mean, that's why I compare it to many sand castles. And he was just sliding it through. And I was like, God dang, this guy got some cash. I need to get like him one day. But like, hey man, that goes to show, man. The guy been in commercials and etc. But that's what the type of legacy you want to leave behind.
Yeah.
A good dude, taught me a lot, so I appreciate everything he installed into me. So.
What would you say is one of the life lessons you'll never forget from the NFL?
What, say it again now?
What would you say was like one of the life lessons that you learned and like you'll never forget while you were in the NFL?
Man, there's many life lessons. There's a bunch of life lessons I learned, but from the top of my head, the one that stuck out to me is I never forget this. I got hurt from Jacksonville. They released me after 8 weeks, and I signed a quick with Chicago. As I was going in, Jay Rattler was coming out. He was getting escorted out by security, and I still this day he told me, Hood, if it makes sense, it's not gonna happen. So I never thought about it until years later.
Yeah.
So if something makes sense, it's not gonna happen. And so with that being said, if you see something going on and you know how you react and what it should be doing, it's not gonna happen. And I'm like, man, this guy was smart. This guy was speaking the truth, because I see it a lot every day. If it makes sense, it's not gonna happen. So
What's an example of that?
let me see.
So you could come.
No, I'm trying to think. So if you feel like you a better player than this guy, but they put him out there because he makes more money, but you're the better player, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Or vice versa. Or if you see somebody messing up and what they should be doing right, they're not gonna do it because it makes too much sense. It makes too much sense to fill your car up before you go on a long trip because you don't want to stop because you're tired or whatever the case may be. So now when you're out on the side of the road with no gas, that's what happens, because it makes too much sense to stop a long time ago and get that car filled up. So if you ever think about anything, if it looks like it makes too much sense, it's not going to happen.
So was there a lot of politics? I'm sure there's a lot of politics in the NFL.
Of course, man. And then, like I said, it started from the top and it rains down depending on the ownership of what team you're dealing with. And there would be some coaches that go to bat for several players, but at the end of the day, if the owner or the GM wanted to exercise their power, they will. And sometimes the coaches have their hands tied behind their back because they want their guys that they're out. And that goes for from MLB, NBA, NFL, all over the place, Unless you're an individual person like MMA or boxing, but I guess promotion and all that is a different ball game. I don't know too much about that world. I just see a lot. But for when it comes to a team sport, politics does come into play a lot.
Like I was watching this podcast today with Ice Cube and Joe Rogan. He was saying how, he has the Big Three League?
Yeah.
So he was saying how a lot of NBA teams and the owners and all that are telling people not to sponsor it because they think it's competing with the NBA. So they're like trying to shut it down in a way.
Well, of course, because they've been stealing money from them, and that's what it boils down to, is money.
But that's the thing, though, it's not, because they use, the other players are retired.
Yeah.
And they do it during the summer. So there's something from the do in the off season.
But like I said, but it goes back to, if it makes sense, it's not going to happen. If they feel threatened by something, hey, they're going to chill. Hey, we're going to put our foot down on this. And so, but like you said, it's not taken away from the NBA because it's something totally different.
Yeah. But just because they feel threatened, they're going to try to do something about it.
Of course. If they feel threatened, they're going to act upon it.
Exercise that power.
Absolutely. Because if they feel like that's gaining too much coverage, they're going to do something to stop that. At some point in time, something.
So like I remember you were talking a while back about when you were a rookie, you had to pay for the table.
Oh yeah, shoot, my rookie deal was $12,000. I got lucky. We had a bunch of D linemen. What made it wasn't the food. The food was good. It was the liquor. That was the problem. It was the liquor. The food no more came out to maybe $2,000, $3,000. That's okay.
$10,000 in liquor.
The rest about probably $8, $7, because I had to buy wine. I had to buy wine for all the individual vets on the team. And then,
bottle of wine for
like
each?
a bottle of wine.
That's
and I had to buy a bottle of Louis of Louis the 13th for it. I had to get at the Aaron Smith. So if you know, at the time Louis the 13th was about $2,000. Now it's about what, $4,500, $5,000 today. So if you ever drunk Louis, Louis the 13th is real smooth. So when my time came to get me a bottle of Louis the 13th, I received it. But I didn't try to kill the rookies. They actually took care of me because I'm hearing horror stories of guys paying $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 that rookie deal.
Blowing money like that for liquor?
I'm telling you. Cam Haywood, I think when he got drafted, we took care of him. I think he ended up spending, $14, $15. That's all right. Jonathan,
that's light too.
Shoot, yeah, that's light. But Jonathan Allen with Washington. Man, them guys took advantage of him. I felt so bad for him. I tried to help him. And I told him, this is the guy you got to watch. As a matter of fact, there's two guys you have to watch out for. And I kept telling him, I said, dude, hey, be cautious. Do not go to the casino. We should not go to the casino. He's already feeling good, with the liquor flowing in him. And I said, all right, man.
It made too much sense.
It made too much sense. I'm telling you. I'm already at that point in time, I think about 7 years in. So I have a sense of what's going on. I said, Johnny, you don't want to do this. I'm telling you, they're going to run up the tavern. I know two guys will. I didn't know Louis had different versions of it. I didn't know. And an ounce of Louis is like $300 a shot. $300 a shot. I swear to God. I swear, I'm telling you right now. But they had different kinds of Louis the 13. The man wheeled it out into a little cart and had like 7 or 8 different bottles that you could try. Guys would say, hey, let me get a shot of that, let me get a shot of that, let me get a shot of that. You're not thinking that's much. But when you looking at that tab, you damn near got about $15,000, $20,000 ran up on liquor by itself.
Did they know how much it was though?
No, I knew. Because I knew. I'm looking at the price. Because you can flip and see the menu. Yeah. And when they got when it says MP for market price, they ain't gonna tell you the price. But I pull the waitress over and say, hey, how much are these shots? $450, $500 for a shot. I said, all right. I don't want none. I'm good with my two. I'm good. I only had 2 drinks that night with double Hennessy and Coke. That's all I wanted. The rest of these guys, shoot, you can forget about it.
They can drink too. They're big bodies too.
Oh yeah, they gonna drink. And plus, when you eating, you're not gonna be conscious of how much you're drinking. They eating and drinking. They'll get up and dance in the middle of the floor. Even keep them down. It's a private area. It was just the fellas, so it was a good time. No women or anything like that. Just the fellas. And so when you move in, you staying active. You're not conscious of how much you drink, especially if you just taking shots. Because you can take about 10 to 12 if you do it right and pace yourself. You're not going to be conscious of how much you actually drink until you wake up and look at your bank account the next day. I'm telling you, that dude, to my understanding, he got hit over the head with $27,000. To my understanding. So I heard Chase Young got done more when my internship in Washington after I retired. I heard he got hit over the head even more because he had to take out the whole defensive side. I said, yeah, you can have that. yeah, I wasn't part of it, but I wish I was. Cause I probably would have got me a double lobster and steak on it. So I'm telling you, shoot.
That's crazy.
Abusing the power.
I would have done the same, though. I would have done the same.
Hey, that's your time to take advantage of it, and then it just builds up and keep adding on the next year. So the one guy that got hit with this bill, hell with this. I'm gonna do it. This is the guy, and that's how it went from each year. And so that's how it keeps increasing. But the money's increasing because everything's starting now to be guaranteed in the first round. So that's what you're gonna see.
Right.
So.
That's crazy.
God bless. Shoot.
God bless.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
So like, what year was it when you got to the Super Bowl?
Let me see. So 2010, 2011, we lost to Green Bay.
2011?
Because you got to roll over into the next year. I just keep saying 2010 because that's the year.
It says it starts and then it ends
so
2011.
You can just say 2010, even though probably 2011. So, but that's the year we lost to Green Bay in the Super Bowl. So.
How was that?
Oh, that was fun. The only thing that made it bad was because that was the first Super Bowl or big event that was held in Jerry World at the time, and that's when that Fort Worth had that big ice storm, and so the roads were kind of bad. They was closed.
So it wasn't the Cowboy Stadium?
It was. No, it was. That's what I'm saying. Fort Worth. That's where we stayed. But it was kind of bad because the ice and the snow made it bad because Dallas wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
The whole area wasn't prepared for that, and so it wasn't like the festivities of what you see like in Arizona or Vegas or Miami or something like that. So, but like I said, but it was still the Super Bowl. Stadium was jam packed. I had my own little section out there from Amarillo. That got me fired up. Like I said, it was a great feeling to be out there. I'm still pissed off that we lost because I was at the after party just sitting there like a real kid with my lip stuck out because we just lost. I don't see how people can celebrate, but then again, I took it a little harder than some, but I was still mad about that we lost because we made it all the way. Week 19 to 20, however you want to look at it, plus 4 preseason games, all season, etc., and we lost the main game. Shit. Yeah, I wouldn't say I would be happy if we would never made it, but it's just a bad feeling to get all the way to that point and lose because you don't know if you're ever gonna get that opportunity again. So,
especially being so close to just like that.
It was there.
That goal,
right there.
And then down the street
right
too.
here.
Just few mistakes. Just imagine if we won that game. Man, I walk around with that ring every day. As soon as somebody say Ziggy, I'm like that with it.
Who you talking to?
Yeah, who you talking to? John Cena. I'm like, every day. That's all you need to see. Just every day. I would even got a pinky size one too. I'm telling you.
He really flexing and shit.
I'm telling you, I'm crazy.
You could pay for that rookie dinner with that.
But shoot, that ring would have been saved in the glass cup.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I'm not getting rid of that one.
No, hell no, never.
And then that game you signed Aaron Rodgers too, huh?
Yeah, Aaron, I got to him back there several times. I was fired up for that game. Because I had the opportunity to start because Aaron Smith, when he went out, he had a season injury, I think, with his tricep, and so I had the opportunity.
So you started that game?
I started that game, and so having that opportunity, man, which made it even more special. I just wish we'd have capitalized on it. But hey, that's just how things go. I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful for the organization for even putting me in that position. So
how can you walk us through that play? How it was when you sacked him?
Well, we had a fire stunt. I knew I had to cross the face of a guy because we had a 5-man rush. Everybody did their job, and so I think Lamar Woodley made him step up. Then I came back across, and then he just ran into my arms. So it wasn't like I did anything special. It was just the whole defense working collectively because he couldn't get rid of the ball as fast as he wanted to. It just so happened he stepped up, and I welcomed him. So.
Just a good play at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot, yeah, I got that picture hanging up in my wall. I mean, that was a damn good picture right there. So it can tell a million stories. I can lie and say, I did this and did that. Shoot, I can make up whatever I want. So
here's the proof.
It's your story now.
Absolutely, I'm telling you.
Okay.
So after that, how was it going into the next season? Coming after that loss?
Well, we had the high expectations that we should make it back. I don't think you know what? We made it to the playoffs, but that was the same year that Tim Tebow mania was taking off. And what's the name? Rest his soul. What's the receiver that passed away from there? The number, I want to say 15. I can't remember his name. He got slicked in the first round too. He went ahead of Tim Tebow that year. Bad receiver that came across the slant route, caught it, and they won the game off that one play. I can't remember the name. Forgive me. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. But he caught that pass, and shoot, that prepared Tim Tebow, to be who he was and stuff. So, and that's the opportunity gone right there. So, and then after that, I ain't make it to the playoffs after that. So,
yeah.
What about like the after parties? You see any because I know you met Snoop, right?
Met Snoop in the locker room. He's a cool dude. I didn't realize how tall he was.
Yeah.
This dude was tall, and and then it's true the way they say everybody's nephew. And so he shook my hand and said, "What's up, nephew?" I said, "Dude, this is a cool, smooth dude." He was vibing, he was already, feeling good, coming in there. But, hey, cool dude. I had, no issues, no problem with him. He, shook hands, took pictures. That was a smooth dude right there. I liked everything. So I had a chance to see and talk to Matthew McConaughey. That looked like a guy you want to hang out with, man. Looked like he got some stories, and he just a whole vibe, whole chill vibe. Yeah, like a whole chill vibe, man. And so, Atron Kutcher, I think that's his name. Great player from the Pirates, real good dude. Met him at a party, him and his wife. Just meeting certain people and stuff. Just seeing them for the first time, and spending 2 or 3 minutes with them, and then understanding that they're human beings too. But just being around them, it makes me feel good about myself because not a lot of people get that opportunity. But this is something I can go back and share with people.
Oh yeah, like right now.
Yeah, shoot out, man. I'm just a biology teacher right now. I'm just chilling. So.
But shit, so after the NFL, once you retired and everything, what was it coming back here? What were your goals, your plans? What were you thinking about?
Well, I always wanted to get into coaching. I always wanted to start somewhere. I had different levels. I coached at Washington. I coached at Navarro, which is a junior college. So technically collegiate. So I wanted to do high school. So if I ever came back to Amarillo, I wouldn't want to go nowhere else but PED because Northside need all the help we can get. And not only that, there's a bunch of kids out there that need some general guidance and general direction. And so whether that's in grades or let me say academics, in life or in sports, I'm gonna do whatever I can to help. I'm gonna install and to pour life into them as much as I can. Like I say, if I can save one kid or help one kid, I feel like my job is done. I feel like I accomplished a lot, not only as administrative / teacher and a coach. I feel like as a human being, I tried to help better somebody else's life.
Like basically being a father figure for the players, right?
Father figure, mentor, guidance counselor, financial advisor, a friend, somebody they can lean on, whatever I can. We try to be the sounding board. They got problems. We're going to listen. So we're going to try to find a solution, but also we're going to try to guide and discipline when it's time. And so that's what Coach Mims is doing as far as the staff is trying to have men that's trying to do great things, and not only that, trying to turn these young boys and young teens into men, because at one point in time they're going to be fathers, there's going to be husbands, brothers to somebody, and so we need them to continue that cycle of continue to keep teaching young men on how to act and how to move in the right certain way.
Yeah. And I mean, you hear all the time that people like miss role models. Like when somebody doesn't have a role model, you hear all the time tragedy. What would you say was like your role model?
To be honest with you, my role model was my brother because he's 10 years older than me. He graduated from Tech. He now is at the verge of retiring, but he did it the right way. Great family man. He does things right. Very smart. Very educated. Very savvy with his money. And so that's who I try to mimic myself behind because he's doing it the right way. I'm not saying that he's going to be perfect at every corner because everybody's going to make mistakes. But the thing is, he's making less mistakes when he's older than he did young, and that's what you want to do. Like I said, he's going to learn from what he's doing. He takes self-accountability, and not only that, he doesn't have a pride thing. If something is wrong, he's going to know. And if he sees something is wrong, he's going to call it out. And so that's the one thing I appreciate him because he teaches me a lot because I'm looking from a background. Like I said, that's why we have to be in our P's and Q's because we never know who's watching. And so how we go about a business and how we move in the community, somebody's paying attention. And so if you mess up, somebody's going to follow that same path. You know, God forbid they try to make the same mistakes you have, but we're trying to eliminate that because if they can learn from what you did wrong, hopefully they can better themselves to where they can learn from you and say, hey, I appreciate it, you know, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to move in a better direction, right direction, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's what I'm trying to do every day, even now, you know, while I'm still walking around campus and everything.
Yeah, so how did Avaz come about?
Well, let me see. So in 2003, with Sam, this was my spot. This is my hangout spot.
Oh, for real?
Being here was my hangout spot.
So you didn't just get it.
No, I was when I moved back here in Amarillo. I needed a chill spot. You know, I'm too old to be moving around with the young crowd, and so I wanted a good chill environment. So I came here Fridays or Saturdays because it's a good environment. I didn't have to worry about my safety. I didn't have to worry about somebody flipping out, doing some crazy stuff, and so. Over some time, I guess he felt like he needed to move in a better direction. He either got tired or he wanted to do something new. He presented me the idea about selling. And so with me understanding and seeing how this place can move to a different direction, and not only that, how can we excel it and make it even more than what it is, it was an opportunity I had to jump on. Of course I'm going to do that. So I made the move to purchase it, and then we've been trying to do things right because I go to different hookah spots. I've seen what they're doing. We try to host concerts here. We just got this big old Connect 4 thing where I learned from a guy in LA because he had a hookah spot. He's got 4 of these things. I think it's a cool attraction. I think it's going to keep customers coming in. And not only that, it's going to provide them with fun. It's a clean environment. It's safe. You don't have to worry about too many issues. And not only that, people coming down here to relax. And that's what I want them to do.
Yeah. And that's not that many hookah spots in Amarillo, if any. It's probably one of the only ones.
Well, there's one here. There's one right across the lake if you're not too, if you know where you're going, Hookah Star. And then there's another one, Dreams, I think, out there in Hamlin. So I think maybe there's another one, if I'm not mistaken. So you're looking at about 2 or 3 different spots. So everybody does something different. I'm not in competition with either of them because everybody is doing something different. They may do something better than us. We may be doing something better than them. As long as we stay on doing and what we do and perfect, I'm cool with that. That's all I care about.
So speaking on that, like in Amarillo, have you know, because we grew up here.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing basketball. So I would notice how a lot of times there wasn't a lot of places to play or to go just hoop, you know? Like you had to go to the park outside or even like, I don't know if this is AAU team called, or they used to be called Hoop 10. Mm-hmm. And then they used to charge like crazy. Like every person that want to be on the team had to pay like $700. They get a uniform, and they're having teams from kids like 8, 9 years old up until high school, and everybody's paying that amount. Or I don't know if it's that exact amount, but and then
it's like almost like a membership type of deal.
Yeah, just to play for the summer. Yeah, AAU, and they weren't even that good. And then after that, they're the ones that bought Netflix, from my understanding. They bought Netflix, and so like. There used to be a YMCA, and you used to be able to go $5 day pass, go in there and play basketball, whatever. AC, everyone would go to the park outside, or you can go inside for $2.
Yeah, I remember that. I used to go work out there $2.
Like, that was the spot. That was the spot to go.
That was it right there. Yeah.
And then they started charging membership $20 a month, and then you had to go outside. But there wasn't nowhere to really play basketball to go practice, you know. And then once they got a hold of Netflix, I remember me and my buddies used to go in there just try to play, and they wouldn't be using it.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, "Hey, you can't be in here." I'm like, well, there's nobody even using it.
Yeah.
So they'll try to charge like $40, $50 for a day pass. But if you wanted to rent out the court, it'd be like $150. I don't know. That's what they charge. That's what they told us. And so you've made it to the NFL. You're from Amarillo. Like, is there like, have you seen progression like in the structure framework? You know, like in Amarillo because you know there's a lot of talent, a lot of people here that can make it to, you know, like have to be successful. So, do you feel like now there's more help to provide that opportunity for people? Especially like you haven't made it, you know what it takes, and now you see the talent that's here. There's talent in football and basketball, boxing, MMA, but it's not that structure and that opportunity.
Well, unfortunately, in order for a kid to develop, they either have to have that dog in them, or they're gonna have to.
Like you figure out a way.
Yeah, they're gonna have to venture out to go get a specialized coach for that.
Yeah.
And a specialized coach for that is gonna cost money. And so that's in order for them to move to the next level. See, we didn't know. Growing up, we didn't have that. We had Coach Love, we had Coach Young, we had Coach Casey, we had Coach Dunham at the time. I had Coach Steve Barr. We had guys that knew football, but they had more love for us. And that made us work even harder. Now, I'm not saying I was the best player, but I knew I had a coach that's going to be behind my back. And so that pushed me harder to play hard for this guy. Now it's a lot of different factors weighing in because some coaches and some teachers are not getting paid a certain amount of money. So depending, you really have to love your job to want to become a teacher. Or you really have to love the game of football to be a football coach, especially at the high school level, because you put so many hours in, and you probably spend more time with other people's kids than you do with your family. And so you have to find that balance to make sure that you're giving that kid or a group of men all the love you can, all the knowledge, because you know at the end of the day the paycheck is not going to reflect that. If we got paid by the hour, shoot, I'll be there every day, you know. But it doesn't work out like that. And so in order for a kid to move to the next level these days, they have to find a specialized coach, or they have to really know what they're doing. But there's so much knowledge out there. There's YouTube information coming from other people. There's other men who would give up their time to come in and help coach a kid. And so you have to take advantage of the opportunities when you can, because we don't have that too much around here. This is not like the Metroplex. It's not like Dallas or Houston. So if there's a kid that's out there that's doing good, he's gonna need a village behind him in order to push him to the next level.
And people like Roe, for example, he's trying to shine light on that too. The neighborhood heroes, news and everything. Like
he needs, and the more support, the more gathering, and the more good positive energy he get from people, he's gonna continue to keep getting better. The one thing I want him to keep doing, no matter what the outcome is, you do it for the right reasons, and good things are going to happen. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Even if everybody telling you no, hell no, you keep going. Because at some point, you're going to have a break. You're going to have a break, and then boom, you're going to be ready for it and be ready to accept it.
Yeah, Ro's good people, man. He's helped us out a lot too.
Absolutely,
sure.
Hell yeah.
Shout out, Ro.
Shout out, Ro. Ro for Show
Productions.
Hell yeah. Hey, we got your wedding next week. Baby, I'm about to tear the dance floor up. I ain't lying to you. I'm not lying to you. Boy, those shoes about to be worn down to the dub. I'm telling you.
It's gonna be like the little
Could
marks
have
on the
skid
floor.
marks.
Hey, the black marks all over the place. I might just dance around in one little circle. You know, man, I'm having a good time. So the bet be open bar too. I know that. So.
And then he's a lightweight too, huh?
Oh, he is, man. But like I said, I'm not mad for being a lightweight. Shoot, hell,
That's not a bad thing.
I mean, but it also make buying them drinks a low bill. So I know I'm like, I'm gonna be good tonight. But I'm try to drink a row and stuff. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, Ro's good people, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's helped us out a lot too. He's one of the first ones that like really helped us out, put our name out.
Well, you know what? That comes from the upbringing from his family. You know, great mom and dad, and not only that, a great family that he's with. And so Ro is going to show that. He's going to display that. And so he's a good guy, and he deserves every good thing that comes his way. And so I can't wait. The future is bright for this man, and so I years to come, and we're gonna see a lot of big things from him.
Yeah, we're rooting for Roe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. He's the one that. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say genuinely, he really like opened up like a lot of doors for us.
Like he's the one that got us into Kevin Gates. I know you were there too.
I was there. I was down there selling hookahs, man. Hey, I was pushing, baby. I was pushing. Hey, if there's opportunity to work, man, sign me up, baby. I'm going to push them whatever I can.
Yeah. How do you feel like going into that? Once you knew you were gonna, be there watching like all this concert and everything.
I thought we were just gonna go and just have a good time.
Yeah.
But we were on the stage and walking around.
You know what I'm saying? He's trying to put people in different positions, and so I'm coming to sell hookahs, but I get to watch a concert, at the same time. I can make money and watch, some of my favorite artists. Man, sign me up. I'm with you. I'm not tripping at all. I'm having a good time. I'm out there sweating with the other people, but man, I'm having a good time watching them. I got to see a great show. I had a great time. That's all I can ask, man. I'm happy about that. I'm blessed to be in that position to do so.
No, it was for sure. From everything I heard, bro, it was a great show.
Oh, yeah, because they couldn't go. It was just me and Axel.
Oh, man.
I wasn't able to.
Great show, man. Great show, man. Great show. I'm telling you.
Glad to hear it.
Glad to hear it. I'll show you the video.
At least some of us, man. No, we did watch that.
Yeah, we've been watching it.
Hell no. But, so I know you and Jock are business partners, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't mind me asking, like, I know y'all brought some concerts here to Amarillo.
Yeah.
How was that?
I mean, it's good. Amarillo, sometimes it's really a hit and miss. It's hard to bring mainstream artists because it's not just the people, it's the venues and where you're going to have it at. Yeah. And, you can't bring certain, let's say, artists here because some of the venues won't allow. We originally, for that Kevin Gates, working with Six, shout out to Six, we originally was supposed to be at WT's campus.
Yeah, I remember that.
And whatever happened with that, I wasn't part of the room. I just overheard what happened. Once I think the vice president found out, who he was and his antics, he put a stop to that. Hell no.
Racism?
Yeah, whatever. I wouldn't say that, but it's just that it wouldn't fit the mold of what they're trying to have. And so we had to move it to, let me say this. They had to move it to Azteca, and then something was going on with Azteca. We had to take it to Lubbock. Yeah. And so, like I said, I know it messed up with a lot of people, which I can understand. Yeah. You had your mind set with WT, which is awesome. Then you hear about they had to move to Azteca. Oh, that's funny.
Fucking Lubbock.
Yeah, it's fishy. So I get it. I totally get it. I understand. Yeah. Because I'll be like, I'll be hesitant too. It's almost like buying something on the internet, and then you gotta pay $10.99 for shipping and handling. You're gonna chill out for a second.
And you gotta pay for a hotel.
All that. So I understand. I get it. So
I wasn't tripping though. We had passes.
Yeah, so
at least.
You just rubbed it in our face at this one.
It was cool. It was a cool experience.
Absolutely.
Hey, bro, I'll call next.
Next time we have a concert. But yeah, bro, it'd be cool. And then, wasn't there supposed to be another concert after that?
I'm trying to think. I can't remember what all was happening that year. I think some things got canceled due to flights or something happening with the venue with the promoters or something like that.
That's the biggest thing because I remember, like I was talking earlier about the structure in Fenwick and Amarillo. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but from what I heard was when they were gonna build Hodgetown, they were gonna build a rec center by Caprock. So I know like in Dallas they have rec centers where you can, like I used to go to one in Irving, where from 10 to 5 you can just go, they take a picture of your ID and it's free to go in there and hoop. Yeah. And everybody will be in there. And then after that you go to the park or whatever. But like here, we don't have none of that. We don't have a rec center where you can just go and play. So supposedly they were gonna build one right there by Caprock. And a lot of people voted to let's have Hodgetown instead.
Oh yeah, I heard about that deal. It's almost like when school district came to us and they gave us different options. I think rebuild something in Austin, indoors for all Amarillo schools. Something done to the stadium, if I'm not mistaken. I can't forget about the fourth option. I voted for indoors for all schools because if the weather gets bad, we don't have nowhere else to go. Teams like Bushland and all the others in the surrounding towns, they have indoors. We're the only ones that don't have. And we get bad weather here. We have winter, we have snow. Why not have an indoor for us? All sports can use, etc. Whatever the case may be. We missed out on that opportunity because we needed a bigger push. I think they took the money for something else. I can't even remember. Because if they didn't vote what we wanted, man, I forgot all about it. It didn't even make a difference because it didn't benefit us.
And then like having a bigger venue too, I feel like we'll bring a lot of like tourism. It's already a lot of tourism here.
It is.
Like we have the second biggest Buc-ee's.
I mean, with Buc-ee's being here, with the big Texan Cadillac Ranch, and then Route 66, you have a lot of things that's gonna bring people here. Yeah. So now we're missing, like, I remember the Civic Center being the place to go, and having concerts and having the big big events there. Now it's like it's whether you're in or not, and so but then again, it also comes down from having the city in behind your ideas or whatever the case may be, and that's something I don't get involved with. So
that's crazy because like what's his name, Rose.
Like he was. I think it was Rick Ross and Rihanna took a picture in Cadillac Ranch. They were just passing by. Beyonce too. Like there's all these people that pass by here.
Yeah, all the time.
You got like OKC 4 hours one way, Albuquerque, Lubbock, Dallas. Like we're always going. Plus all the small towns in between.
Yeah, I mean,
like, we have a big venue. We're gonna sell it out.
Didn't we have Andre 3000 not too long ago?
He's
walking around. So like I said, that's an opportunity right there. So but
all we need is a big venue and we'll have the same.
Exactly. So with music alone, you know how much people would come to Amarillo just music
just
alone?
For music.
We just don't have a push for it.
The boxing fights. There's a lot of talent, like a lot of big names for boxing and MMA here made it to the UFC.
Of course.
But we don't have a venue to have these fights here.
And that's what we're missing.
And it's right in the middle of everything too.
That's what we're missing right there. So.
That's what
we see it all the time too. Like as soon as like we have like hope for something getting built. It's like they take the money and put it into something else.
Oh man, they pull that rug from you real quick, man. Real quick.
It makes too much sense.
It makes too much
sense.
Hey,
if y'all look at view life like that, like man, Ziggy was right, man.
I was thinking that shit.
Hey, Ziggy was right.
I mean, this whole time, especially like with music too, like it was frowned down upon here in Amarillo for a while, but like
everything
right
really,
now,
like if you didn't want to go get a nice little corporate job, you frowned upon.
Yeah.
Oh, he's dumb. He's goofy. Like it's not gonna work.
A family man, like
he's a square. That type of deal.
Yeah,
man, we gotta break that. We gotta break that mold.
I mean, you see it though. Like right now, like people just stop caring like way more. Yeah. So you'll see it all the time. People like start rapping or start
like we're progressing more. Like
little by little, we're getting somewhere. But I'm really hoping for the future. We got something major.
Of course.
Yeah, and then like you said, like it's being more like pushed for. It's being more like encouraged. It's not as frowned upon as it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Diversity. I think that's what's helping a lot, bro.
Big words,
We're throwing them out right now, man. That man's on fire.
I had the dictionary on my bedside table, bro.
He's on fire right now, man.
What's the word of the day?
Indict yourself.
Well,
who gave you that word though?
This young fella next to me.
Come on, brother.
Come on. Indict. That's the big words. We googled it last night.
Well, I was gonna ask you something else too. I forgot. Talking about the arenas and all that.
A lot of people started pushing for that. You said.
Yeah, like it's more encouraged now.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot, bro.
It'll come back to you.
Eventually.
What would be something you would change about high school games and stuff like that? Like something you would rather have it your way?
I remember high school games being packed. I remember high school games being packed. Regardless of who was at Dick Bivens Stadium, that game was packed. And it was live. I mean, it was full, it was jumping. And I don't know what changed. I don't know if people stopped coming because Friday nights was a big deal.
Right.
Friday nights was a big deal. And now it's like, saying maybe it's too many fair weather fans or something like that. Or like I said, growing up, when the games happened, whether it was Amarillo High versus us, Tascosa versus Caprock, the stadium was packed. That was the place to be. Now it's like, are you going to the game? Nah, I'm gonna chill at the house, make TikTok, some type of stuff like that. Or I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm gonna go to Synergy. something like that. So
Or even like the phones, like everybody's on their phone now. But you
Oh,
see
yeah,
those pictures, everybody's just in on it.
nobody's watching the game. Everybody's too busy trying to take, pictures and snaps and looking good. Somebody just got caught a touchdown. You don't know what happened.
Or you know what else? Drama.
Yeah.
Like a bunch, especially because of school. Mind you, it's high school. Fights going on in the stadium. Over here at the concession stand, there's a fight going on. Everyone's looking at the fight and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got little Rob and them worrying about them way across the way.
Exactly,
Some crap like that.
Pick a fight with the other school.
Yeah, or let's meet up over here. That type of crap, man. Come on, man. Let's try to enjoy the game or try to enjoy what's going on.
Right, exactly.
Do you have any stories like that when you were in high school? Like some crazy stuff happened?
Oh man, let me see. Well, I mean, I played so much, I couldn't even tell what was going on. I mean, we really
so focused on the game.
So focused on the game. I mean, we never. I mean, of course, we're gonna talk trash on the football field.
Yeah.
But as far as with the antics happening in the crowds and things like that, I never saw too much unless it happened during halftime. Because if something broke out, of course, you're gonna turn back and look. But I personally haven't seen anything like that.
What about on the field?
Oh, on the field, man. In the pile, people pulling fingers, you getting hair. If your hair was hanging out your helmet, you was getting snatched. I seen guys put icy hot in folks, mouthpieces or hands all in the face trying to poke your eye. It was all crazy stuff, man. But you gotta remember, there was no cameras, so you could get away with that. Now these days, you better not. I mean, but the tape that we had with VHS. So the quality of it wasn't as good. Now you're gonna get caught in 4K doing it. So I wouldn't recommend it right now. But back then, it went down in the piles. And like I said, it was a strange thing. People would untie your shoestrings, all type of crap going on. So, man, it was crazy, man. Funny but crazy.
That's crazy. So we got one more question that we can end it off by you.
Okay. Yeah.
Is the NFL scripted?
No, man, it ain't scripted. To me, it wasn't. I mean, on the outside, it may look like a certain things are happening. To me, it wasn't. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some questionable calls, and you sitting on the screen like, oh, okay. The guy that got bumped too hard, that should have been the pass interference, wasn't pass interference. They've been calling this all game. Now, all of a sudden, it didn't happen, or somebody intentionally fumbled the ball, or
now with them making bets and all that.
Yeah. Now I think that may be a factor coming into play. I hope it's not, because damn, man, that's a bad way for your team. You know what I'm saying? You bust your ass all week, and then all of a sudden, I hope somebody don't take a dive, because I want to whoop his ass. That's just me. I mean, but I'm a competitor. I want to win, and I hate to do all that work because I hate losing. I'm a real sore loser when it comes to that, because I don't because the next day I just feel awful. So I like waking up the next day feeling good. Like, all right, man, we won. Let's keep it pushing. That's a good feeling. When you lose, shit, I ain't trying to get used to that. Forget that, man.
Exactly.
You should never get used to losing.
I will hope not.
Never.
There's some people that do.
Sadly.
Big smile on their face. Big smile on their face. I'm not with that. I'm cool off that.
Yeah.
But that saying, never be satisfied.
Never. Keep always thriving or striving to be the best.
Right.
And and let things work out the way the way they are by hard work.
Right.
And so.
That's it.
I think that's good, huh? What are we at?
Go shadowbox the camera
50
real
minutes?
quick.
Pretty solid, man.
I think that was good.
I did get here a little late.